Hi, this is Father Louis SCURTI. I'm here at Clearwater Catholic High School with Tom Tympprowicz. But before I get there, when I come to Florida, I regard Clearwater as my second parish, and St. Cecilia's is the parish in which I serve. So I'm the northerner who comes south to assist here in Clearwater. And as a result, I've met some very nice people. They all moved up from north, but that's another story. And today I'm interviewing one of those people who has become a member of our board of trustees. He's a major benefactor and a friend. And the best part of it is he's a friend. So Tom, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Good to see you back again.
Thank you.
You're a snowbird.
Yeah, yeah. Why say reverse snowbird?
Yes.
Now, how our relationship began was Tom is a lector at Sunday morning masses, and when I'm here, I do say morning masses, 8:30. That's the earliest I'll go. But he's eloquent and he's clear. We got talking about Clearwater and his role. He used to be a coach here.
A teacher and a coach, and I still coach here.
And they still refer to you as coach.
And yes, they do. And so they needed a soccer coach when my daughter was in school here back in 1998. So I came on board. She graduated, and I'm still here.
That's great. That's great. And you taught here too.
And I was a teacher here for about 5 years. Yes. And then at that point, after 5 years, I started my own business. So I left education, but I kept on coaching. So I coached here, and then also coached at a local club.
And after this interview, he's off to another coaching gig someplace else. Last Sunday, he couldn't come to my mass because the coaching team was meeting at another church.
Yes.
So he's always on the go. He's not just, he's very calm. He's not like me. I'm like, all over. He's very calm, but he's everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, let me start with that.
Okay.
You came here as a teacher. Where did you come from?
So Columbus, Ohio, and went to a Catholic high school in Columbus, Ohio, and went there and went to the military. I was getting drafted during the Vietnam War, and so I did volunteer for the Marine Corps for 2 years, came back, went to Ohio State University, and graduated in education at Ohio State University.
Great. And then came here as a teacher?
And I came down here in 82-83 school year.
To teach.
Right. So I taught in Columbus, Ohio, starting as I graduated in 72-73 with my master's, and then after that I taught at a Catholic high school in Columbus, Ohio.
That's great. Have you always taught in Catholic high schools?
Yes.
Why?
That is because I felt comfortable with it. I enjoyed the environment, but most of all, the spiritual dimension that a Catholic school you can bring to not only in the classroom but on the athletic fields.
Yeah, that's important. You are comfortable with bringing the spirit of Catholicism into the classroom and the fields.
Yes.
What is that spirit? How could you explain it to someone who's not attended a Catholic school or who goes to public school?
Yeah. So it's really ultimately a relationship with Jesus Christ. Okay. And we do that through the saints and mostly through Our Lady. I have a real devotion to Our Lady. I've always felt that as a young boy. My aunt would bring me to the Miraculous Medal novena every Monday night. Now I was only about 5 years old. Now what I really wanted to do was get in her new 1954 Chevy, okay? And she was never late. She might have been late starting, but she was always on time getting there, okay? So I thought that was the coolest thing. And that was pre-seat belt, so I could roll out the window and hang my head out and enjoy it.
Isn't that funny?
And my aunt would say, "Now be careful, Tommy." I said, "Yes, Aunt Marge." So, but anyway, so I got that, a devotion to Our Lady, and I wanted to bring that with me into my coaching. I think that was really important to have the athletes develop a relationship through athletics and come out off that team when they graduate, perseverance, hard work, and a commitment. And so we want to extend that from the teenager years into adulthood and really develop that ultimately for God, the relationship with God.
And you've maintained contact with your kids who became adults.
Yes.
Soon, because we were at a restaurant not long ago,
Yes.
and we're waiting. I felt like I was surrounded by a rock star. They all came. Oh my God, I'm gonna coach here. Okay. Scurti's here. Get rid of the coach.
By the way, this is Father.
yeah. By the way.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to take a hiatus from the coaching and the school to Mary, because I know one of the great conversations we had when we first met was about Our Lady of Sorrows. Go for it.
So Our Lady of Sorrows. So I really became attached to Our Lady of Sorrows. I went to attended as a youngster in Massachusetts before going to Ohio. My parents moved to Ohio. Monte Dolorosa grade school. All right. So, and then just through the years, I became real close and comfortable with Our Lady of Sorrows. That was the sort of the side of Mary that I was attached to. I felt I could feel the sorrows in my life, and I could equate with her. So she was sort of like my role model. When you suffer, especially with family, and the sorrows that everybody has, really.
And this as a child.
Yes, as a child. Yes. So, and I've always been with that. And of course, I love the various dimensions of Mary, whether it's Fatima or Lourdes. There's something special, but the common denominator is prayer and really suffering, accepting suffering with humility. Most of all, the comment I think you hear from a lot of people who are not spiritually inclined very strongly, or they're not practicing any kind of spirituality. Their question always is, why does God do this? Why God this? Why God? Well, Mary's sort of like the answer to help you understand that. Why did she have to suffer? Why did her son take on the suffering? So, and rather than just snapping a finger and we're all connected with God, we're one happy family again. But no, we had to go through that stage of suffering what sin caused.
And she had connection with the big guy.
Yes.
Never forget, years ago, 1991, I had a burn accident, and I was in the hospital in New Jersey, and it was real severe. And my nephew came in. He was maybe high school at that point, Michael, and he said, "How did this happen?" I said, "Oh, I don't want to repeat it again." What I did was I made sketches, and because I was just so exhausted, I was always being tampered with, by the doctors. And I said, "Why don't you just take one of those sketches and read them all? It's like cartoons, but this is how Louis got burned." And he says, "No, I don't want to know that. How did it happen to you?" I said, "Michael, the sketches are about me." He says, "No, you're a priest. How did it happen to you?"
Yeah.
Wow. So he had the impression that God spared priests and religious from pain.
Right.
And it opened up a great dialogue. It was so ordinary and so normal. And I'm Uncle, to God, I'm Uncle Louis.
Yeah.
I'm not Father Scurti, I'm Uncle Louis. Yeah. And that started the dialogue.
And for me, God didn't spare his mother.
Right.
Right. It's interesting. He allowed her to partake in his passion. And so that through her example, we can do the same. And that's a real special grace. It's hard, and especially, we all make mistakes. We're all imperfect. We all do things we wish we wouldn't have done. But then we always turn to our mother, And so when you turn to your spiritual mother, it's even to another level. She's very merciful and very forgiving, and she leads you. It's her son that forgives you, but she sort of drags you by the arm, A good friend of mine that just passed away, very fit guy at St. Cecilia's, and he was very fit, 70-ish, rode his bike, ran every day, and when he ran the block around the circle, around the house, the neighborhood, he would have the rosary in hand, because the neighbors would say, yeah, he had this like chain of beads with him. They didn't know what it was, He died of a heart attack recently, saying the rosary. And so there's that tradition that if you're saying the rosary, you're holding Our Lady's hand. And so, wasn't that wonderful? I mean, he was holding Our Lady's hand. That's the tradition. It's a beautiful, we have a lot of beautiful traditions in the Catholic faith, and that's one of them that really it hits home with me. So you hold Our Lady's hand when you're praying with the rosary. And so he did.
I've always had confidence in Mary. I went to Holy Rosary School, Holy Rosary Parish. I went to Immaculate Conception, was the chapel at the university, Immaculate Conception Seminary, St. Mary's Seminary,
Yeah.
and voila. And I always had this special kinship with Mary. I'm hardly a saint, but I depend on her a lot.
Yeah.
And so when the bishop asked me, when do you want to get ordained, because that's how we used to speak, this is 1973, I said, how about the Feast of the Immaculate Conception? It happened to be
Very
a
nice.
Saturday. It worked with his schedule. He opened up the schedule. Okay, 10:15. And it was casual for him, but it was a major, wow, contact and communication for me to hear Mary give me her Immaculate Conception as a date of my ordination.
That's very nice.
So I always remember.
Yeah.
I always jokingly say,
Yeah.
I'll always be working on my anniversary with pleasure. With
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Interesting how Mary has taken a role in our church too,
Mm-hmm.
and really has guided us.
Mm-hmm.
Give me some of your stories of Mary. I think of Medjugorje, and I think of other stories
Yeah.
you've mentioned to me.
So Medjugorje is a special one for me. And so I've made 3 trips to Medjugorje. So the first one was with a youth group. We went and had all the youth groups from all around the world there. It was neat to see all the different flags flying from around the world, even China.
Oh, okay.
It was really
That's
really
great.
unique on that. So went up Apparition Hill, Cross Mountain, heard about a lot of miracles that had occurred. And so, and I didn't go there for that. I just wanted to be where Mary was in my mind. It's nice. I mean, I can be at the local chapel,
Yeah.
the church, and get that. But when you do a pilgrimage, it is special.
Absolutely.
It really special. So the second trip I went there, I had stopped by a local shop and bought this beautiful picture of Our Lady. She was crying. Again, Our Lady of Sorrows. So that's what attracted me to this picture. So it was a painting on a canvas, and so I rolled it up, and we traveled together back to the United States, and then I put it in the room, and I was going to have it framed, but I didn't do that right away. Then a couple years later, I made another trip to Medjugorje, and we're going up Apparition Hill. Excuse me, it was Cross Mountain. We were going up Cross Mountain. We started the stations across. It was early in the morning, like 5:30 in the morning. Okay, so we go up there. And these boulders and rocks, for people who haven't been to Medjugorje, it's amazing that you can even walk up these paths because, I mean, these are just not small rocks. They're boulders.
Yeah.
So we're going, but in about the 7th station, a gentleman, Steve, was traveling in our group. He said, he says, Tom, I'm going to sit here. I says, I'm not feeling real well anyway, and I'll just wait till you come back. And I said, okay, I'll come back and get you, Steve. So we made our way up to the Stations of the Cross and up to the top of the Cross Mountain. And our guide said, I wanted to go the back way, but we got Steve back down below. I said, well, I'll go get Steve. He said, you mind? No, I'll go get Steve. I'll meet you down at the bottom of the hill. So I started coming back, so I traced back my path, coming back down, and as I come around the 11th station, so it got real quiet. There was a lot of groups from Italy there. There was a couple Polish groups there. There was a Korean group there. And all of a sudden, it just got real quiet. Got really quiet. You could hear it like a pin drop. And I said, Mary, if you're going to show up, don't let me pass out on these rocks, okay? I don't want to get hurt, okay? So I go around this corner 11th station, and there's this woman dressed in black from head to toe. She was leaning down, sobbing at the 11th station. She was sobbing. And so I was expecting, because the Eastern Europe still has a tradition that when a woman loses her husband, she just dresses in black.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
and they still have that.
Yes.
So that's what I thought. So I came around her. She was kneeling right here like we were. And I came around to the side of her, and I put my arm around her, and I said, oh, it's like I put my arm on a rock, real stiff stone. And I put my hand on the station, and she stopped crying, and she looked up and looked over me, and I went, my breath was taken away. The most beautiful human being I've ever seen in my life, almost like porcelain-type skin. The beauty was incredible. So I still don't know what's going on here, okay, because I'm focused on Steve, trying to get to Steve, okay, and navigating around these Italian groups going up the hill. But she looked at me and she smiled, and then she looked back down, and the veil came back over her. So then I got up, and I walked around the corner, and there's this gentleman who's sketching our Immaculate Conception version of Our Lady with tears coming on, okay? And then I looked around, she's still crying, and I came back and I paid for it, and I looked back, she was gone. So I thought, I didn't think much of it. I thought, oh, maybe she just left. Okay. So long story short, when I got back to Ohio, I decided to go ahead and frame this picture. That was it. That was her. I could not believe it. I couldn't believe it. So I can't prove it and I can't disprove it. But to me, it was Our Lady. And it was just a really, I thought to myself, I can't believe you stupid, you should have known who it was, okay?
What would you done? Shook her?
I don't know,
hand?
Yeah.
Got her autograph?
Hugged her more, So anyway, so it was a beautiful memory, and it still is, as if I saw her yesterday.
Yeah,
so just tears and, and smiling,
Yeah.
I'm hoping that. So from that point on, I thought, well, if I can take away one tear by doing something for Our Lady, I would love doing that.
Beautiful.
And so that's what I try to do.
God bless you. We're here with Tom Tympprowicz at the Clearwater Central Catholic High School, and Tom has been sharing some Catholic stories, as you heard. We'll be back with a few other stories and his role in the Catholic Church here in Clearwater. God bless you. Let me hear from you, Father Lou SCURTI at hotmail.com.